Those who think that the team is underperforming and the coach must back up with his players are in the majority. Just a few of us, like myself, are those who believe that we need to have patience and allow the team to mature in the course of time. The difficulty, however, is, not many people will have the time to wait. I mean, when are we going to see the Black Stars blossom? If it's going to take a year, 2 or more, a lot of people don't have the patience. But then it is what it is. We have to accept the team as it is and hope that the managers will do the kind of things that will ensure we pick up our form as many expect.
The same way like Ghanaians are complaining about Chris Hughton, the manager of the team, it's the same way Nigerians are also complaining about Joseph Peseiro, the head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, saying the team is actually underperforming under this manager, Joseph Peseiro. But for Ghanaians, of course, they are lucky enough to know that they got all 3 points in that game. But look at Ghana and Nigeria. These are big wigs when it comes to playing football in Africa. But take a look at the other countries, Cameroon, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria. When they play lesser teams, you could tell they will deal seriously with those teams who have been tagged lesser than them, especially when it comes to the rankings on the African rankings, when it comes to FIFA rankings, I put it that way. So what exactly is the problem? Is it just the coaches, or are the players not committed enough to the task?
I think it's a combination of numerous factors. I cannot speak so much of the Nigerian situation because I would have to abreast myself with the facts as pertains the Nigerian situation. But in the Ghanaian case, from my close observation, it is a matter of Black Stars losing their shine over the course of time and not doing the necessary things that would have ensured that as we lost some quality players, we were building to replace those players. I mean, if you look at the Black Stars of 13 years ago and compare them to the Black Stars of today, there's a vast difference. I mean, if you check from defense, we had the likes of John Mensah, we had John Pencil. If you go into midfield, we had Sule Muntari, we had Ajma Medu, and some other good players. In fact, in attack, we had the legendary Asamoah Gyan, who on any day could give Ghana a goal or two. I mean, I don't remember Asamoah Gyan being in a game in his prime. I mean, having Ghana had to labor for 90 plus minutes before we scored. And so in our case, it's more of not preparing for the lean season. The lean season being the time when we had to understand that the good players we had were going to go and we needed to replace them. And then also the matter of coaching inconsistencies. I mean, that has also been a problem. And I think we need to stick to Chris Hughton. I mean, I have said that what would be the point in dismissing him? Because, see, he's struggling to get results. But we are either not losing. I mean, we are not losing. Apart from the 2 friendly matches we lost to Mexico and the United States, in our competitive games, it's either been a draw or win. And so why would we want to be in a rush and dismiss him? Let us allow him to do his work. Let us encourage the players to give their best and hope that as they move along, results will change. There's a point you make I like so much. See, if you're a good side and you meet a supposedly weak side, your strength must show. That's what Egypt did against Djibouti. That is what Ivory Coast has done against Seychelles. When these things happen, then you know that yes, you are that force to reckon with, not a force to reckon with on paper, as we have seen in the Ghana and the Nigerian situation. These countries must back up, and it is going to show that if you don't back up, you'll be found wanting. I was very surprised to learn that Lesotho held Nigeria. I mean, it's not one of the things or the stories you would even want to hear in the past. How were you going to hear stories like this? Yeah, football is full of surprises. But in the days of Amokachi and Sandy Release and Rashid Yakini and all the top Nigerian players, I mean, JJ Okocha and the rest, how well Lesotho, with all due respect to them, going to hold Nigeria in Nigeria's home. I mean, it's not something that we dreamt of. But today it's happening because these countries we are talking of, I'm sure, are not doing something right. And in the Ghana case, I've mentioned the lack of quality players, our inability to replace the players that were leaving, and also the coaching inconsistencies. Maybe it could be the same for Nigeria, but whatever it is, the two countries must back up.
All right, sir. Looking at them picking up from where they left it off, of course, Nigeria will play against Zimbabwe. Still talking about the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. But is there really enough time when it comes to international break? Is there enough time for these teams to prepare, especially when we know that they are building? It's a building process for teams like Ghana and Nigeria, even Cameroon. But of course, they're still doing well in the qualifiers. But we barely have 2-3 days for these players to come together and form a unit and ensure that they deliver right there on the football pitch. Is there enough time to prepare for these qualifiers?
I don't think there's enough time. I mean, the calendar is so tight that you will not have any room to do any big preparation. You just have to make do with the limited time at your disposal. And it is why when the teams have the opportunity on the field, they must give their all, because like you are saying, or like you are asking, you are not going to get a time to do anything. You won't get a time to do anything because, I mean, Ghana played yesterday. This morning, I don't know whether the team has left, but last night I learned that the team is leaving for Comoros this morning. And so there's no time to even for rest. So it puts a lot of pressure on the players. It puts a lot of pressure on the coaches. Maybe we as journalists and as fans don't feel the pressure because we are not practically involved. We are only spectators and commentators. But for the team on the field, there's mounting pressure on them first to deliver and also to live up to expectation. And I'm saying this because if we don't look at it that way and live under the assumption that, oh, because this game didn't go well, we have the time to make amends in the next game, again, you'll be found wanting. Because you see, the more you win, the higher your confidence goes up. Yesterday, I was seeing the highlights of Central African Republic and Comoros, and look at how the match went. 6 goals in the game. I am very sure Comoros this morning are feeling very confident of scoring more goals when they play Ghana. So there isn't time. You just need to make good use of the opportunity you have within the limited time and finish off your opponent. Maybe that is the lesson Nigeria and Ghana must learn, and learn quick. And in Ghana's particular case, I have been saying from last night in some of my interviews that we don't have the luxury of having to leave the game late. I mean, take for example how Mali played yesterday. Mali won by 3-1. People have been telling me, oh, the qualification will be determined by head-to-head and all those matters. Yes, I mean, I can understand those things. But I'm saying that in as much as victory matters, we also have to pay attention to our scoring, because you cannot win without scoring. And if your opponents are banging in the goals, it sends a certain signal. I was concerned that Mali scored 3 goals yesterday. I was concerned that Comoros scored 4 times yesterday. And in fact, even for Central African Republic, who lost, they scored 2 goals. And Ghana scored only 1 in the 94th minute or so. So it gives you a certain impression that all the other teams are serious when it comes to scoring. We are still laboring. And for me, that's a big concern.
True. You know, I was going to ask you about that group now. Group I that has Ghana, Chad, Mali, there's Madagascar, there's Comoros, there's Central African Republic, all in that team. And ordinarily, you would have said probably Ghana will top that team on paper. But looking at how the other teams have performed, yes, we saw 6 goals in that game between Comoros and Central African Republic. Going forward, I would love to ask your prediction now. Do you think, from what you saw yesterday, yes, we have a couple of players who tried their best for the Black Stars of Ghana, but do you think Ghana can stand the test of time against Mali and, of course, Comoros and Central African Republic?
Well, I can only hope that we stand the test of time. But I have to be quick to admit that we need to back up. We really need to back up. I mean, if you speak to every Ghanaian football fan on the streets of Accra this morning, they will tell you that let us be wary of Comoros. This is the team that ensured that we didn't win a game at the last AFCON. They actually put 3 goals behind us and kicked us out of the tournament without a win. So going to face them again, you would want to be careful. You would want to even avenge that defeat. But then you're also cautious, because if you give everything to the game and you do not get anything back, that is going to spell more problems for you. I think all we need to do is to understand that the game is evolving. And in that evolvement, it's the understanding that the other teams now do not have any respect for any other side, unless you are going to really come all guns blazing like Egypt did against Djibouti, or Ivory Coast did against Seychelles, or even the way Algeria, I think Algeria won 3-1 or so, you know. Yeah. So we need to understand that the other teams are picking up well. If Ghana can stand the test of time, it is going to be dependent on how we are able to improve quickly. Because, like you said, there isn't time. I mean, like we've been saying, there isn't time for any I mean, big preparation. The limited time you have, you must be able to use it quick and get the results you want. The other side of the argument, which I think makes sense sometimes, is that when Ghana meets some of the big guns, because everyone knows that this is Mali, they are like a bogey side to Ghana. Let's throw in everything. Sometimes the trend of the game changes, and you see Ghana really coming to the party, like we always say. But those are not things that I will bank my hopes on. I would want to see the team improve and not rely on fantasies or feelings of rivalry, which, I mean, you can't really put your hand on, because, you know, it's like talking about Ghana and Nigeria. Nigeria might not be performing well. Ghana might not be performing well, but someone will tell you, oh, it's Ghana. When it's Ghana, Nigeria, the story is different. The story might be different, but it comes down to what you do on the pitch. If you're not able to perform well, put in the goals as your fans expect, other teams will bypass you and go. And that is what the match day one results has painted to us. It has shown us clearly that if you're not going to score well, if you're not going to play well, if you're not going to win your matches convincingly, you'll be found wanting at the end of the day. And I just hope that, I mean, as a Ghanaian, my Ghanaian team would pick lessons from the last game, would also be looking around at what is happening in the various teams and emulate the sort of good examples they are setting there.
All right, so we look forward to Ghana's game against Comoros and the other teams that feature in that Group I, and hopefully Ghana will scale through and qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Thank you very much, Jerome Otchere, for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity. And tell our Nigerian brothers to back up, because we need them to be at the World Cup.
Sure, we will do that. We will do that. Thank you very much for joining us.